Hi guys, good afternoon. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and today joining me for this film review is Do from the channel Do Hong. She and I have collaborated before. You've seen us with Little Nerdy AX. We've done many videos with them, tons of film reviews. Today it's just the two of us.
Yeah,
and
we didn't invite them to this.
We did. We made an effort.
Oh, darn it.
But today we are doing our film review for the movie we just got done watching, Universal's The Mummy, which opened yesterday and is currently playing in theaters. And before we get started, I do want to give you guys the usual warning that this is going to be a spoiler-filled film review. So if you've not seen the movie and you plan on seeing it, first off, go see it. It's fun. Secondly, this is a spoiler-filled review, so we will be revealing giant plot details and storylines throughout the video at any given moment, so you have been warned. This is your final warning. Spoilers lie ahead. So that being said, very much enjoyable. Very, very much enjoyed it. It lived up to my expectations. I pretty much got what I wanted to see, and I wanted to love it. I just ended up really, really liking it, and that was mostly due to the ending. But up until like the final couple scenes, I was loving it. I was into it from beginning to end, or like from beginning to middle and dish, I guess. I was eating it up. I was like, yes, I was hoping to see this. I wanted to see this, and that's what they gave us. And I personally, in my opinion, this is a hell of a way to start the Dark Universe, which is what they're calling. Universal has named their shared cinematic universe for the Universal monsters. They're calling it Dark Universe. And overall, fun movie, fun, exciting popcorn summer flick. So I would recommend it. And there is no post-credit scene, just FYI. We sat through the whole thing. The music was pretty cool, the soundtrack, but we were also just making sure we didn't miss anything. And once you go to see it, once the credits start, there's nothing for you there, so no post-credit scene. I guess some of the highlights for me would have to be seeing Aminette, that's the mummy's name, seeing her backstory and then her physical transformation from decrepit corpse into like this poised, powerful, confident, bewitching mummy woman, and just seeing her, seeing her kicking ass, whether she's taking on Tom Cruise or she's fighting agents of Prodigium and stuff like that, and she's like commanding mummies and bugs and rats at her will. That was awesome. Another big highlight for the film for me was I was hoping we were going to get like at least a good glimpse of him, but we got like a full scene of Mr. Hyde, and he was specifically fighting Tom Cruise. I mean, Tom Cruise had his ass kicked by Mr. Hyde and the Mummy. I don't know what other actor can say I've had two Universal monsters kick the hell out of me, but I loved Russell Crowe's performance as Dr. Henry Jekyll and as Mr. Edward Hyde. That was great, and I loved the introduction to Prodigium and how they're teasing that there is a much bigger world out there regarding the monsters. So those were a couple of my highlights. Also, some really humorous moments too. Very funny in the beginning with the jabs between Nick, Tom Cruise's character, and Vale, Jake Johnson's character. I really enjoyed that, and there were humorous moments between Nick and Jenny, Annabelle Wallace's character. Pretty funny stuff. You know, this movie I felt like was fairly balanced in terms of action, horror, scary moments, and humor. It was all very well put together up until the ending scene. The ending scene, basically, it's like a final showdown between Nick and the mummy. Nick's love interest, Jenny, the archaeologist, has basically drowned after the mummy stole her away from Nick when they were underwater in this cave or cavern or whatever. And he's fighting the mummy, and basically the weapon that she was going to use to sacrifice Nick with, he now has it, and he breaks a stone that's crucial to the weapon working. It's this dagger, this ancient dagger. So he smashes the stone, and he doesn't necessarily destroy it, but he makes a pretty big crack in it, and then he stabs himself. And, you know, if the ritual had gone through where the mummy would have stabbed him like it was supposed to happen, he would have then become possessed by the god of death, Set, because that's what the mummy's original pact was back in ancient Egypt. After she murders her father, the pharaoh, and her little baby brother for being denied the throne, she was going to sacrifice this mortal man so he would become the the god of death, and then they would rule the world, or at least rule Egypt together. And Tom Cruise was going to be that sacrifice, but that changed. So basically, and then, you know, he uses his newfound powers or abilities. He doesn't turn into a monster or anything, but he's definitely got some superhuman strength or powers. And he uses that to defeat the mummy, and then he says goodbye to Jenny, and then he disappears into the darkness. And it's implied that he still has this struggle of good and evil within him, and he still looks human, but he sounds and acts a bit more monstrous. So he hasn't turned into, and people are speculating he's going to become the new mummy, or he'll be the Wolfman or something. No, nothing like that. He's got some demonic, monstrous stuff in him, but he still looks and acts fairly human. So besides the ending, if it wasn't for if the ending would have been better explained or better done, I think I would have loved the movie. But I just really, really liked it, and I think I'll see it at least one more time on the big screen. So what were your thoughts? What do you think?
Well, I think, going into it, because again, I didn't see the original Mummy, but I only saw the Brendan Fraser version, which was the 1999 version. It is one of my favorite films. I can put it on the background and it's just golden. Like, I don't have to do anything. I don't even have to listen to it.
You know what's going on when
I know
you
what's
hear
going
it.
on. And also just, like, the visuals of that movie are just really good for 1999, too. I think, like, probably, what's that famous... ILM probably
ILM,
worked on it.
yeah,
They probably worked on it too.
Yeah,
for me,
probably.
I thought this movie was just fun. I mean, I was kind of like looking forward to see, what was happening next and whatnot. And I'll be honest, I wasn't in the Wonder Woman review, but in that particular movie, there were some parts where it felt very slow. But in this movie, actually, there didn't really seem to be many parts that were
Hardly,
slow. It just like from the very beginning, when Nick's character, Nick and Vale, they're already in Mesopotamia or something like that, and they're already just like within the first 10 minutes, they already found the mummy. So right,
they jump right into it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I mean, obviously she wasn't activated, I guess, at that particular moment in time, but they already found the mummy, and there were some pretty funny moments. I wouldn't say that to me it was as charming as the 1999 version. I don't know if that is from nostalgia or just if again, you try to be as unbiased as you can be. You can only compare so much, because this one is obviously a little bit darker.
This one was meant to be more horror and less adventure.
Yeah, and there were so that is one thing that I have to say, that there was a lot of good points. There were some jump scares that were really good too. So when Nick shoots Vale for the third time, I wasn't expecting that, because he had already shot him twice.
I know, you think
and so he's dead. And then Tom Cruise is just like.
And you can tell it's by accident too, because even his character is like, oh shit, oops.
Well, it's just like, the thing is, like, I think everybody in the theater too jumped at it, because we're like, oh, he's already dead, and then we weren't expecting him to shoot a third time.
Shoots him a third time.
And also when Nick and Jenny went to find Aminet in that church, I think,
yeah,
where
the church,
the guy
where the initial crash